She had to think.
I had one observation that the most amazing thing in the world is that we just surpassed a milestone here in America. Nobody talks about this anymore, but 1 million people have died from COVID. And so I was talking to some tellers at the bank, and they're kind of skeptical, as you know. But, you know, I said, well, what about the million people that died? I said, well, yeah, that's what they say. You know, they're like skeptical. You know, like if it's all, you know, story or something. But anyway, the most amazing thing is that Yuddhisthira Maharaj had a pastime, and this one yaksha was at a lake, and he asked all his brothers who went to drink at the lake, he said, no, first you have to solve this riddle before you drink from the lake. And each brother, he has four brothers, and each one didn't answer the question, they just ignored him, and they died, one after another. And then finally came to Yuddhisthira, and Yuddhisthira, he's one of the Pandit brothers, the brother of Arjuna, he was the king. And so, you know, the yaksha told him, you know, before you drink the water, this is my lake, before you drink the water, you have to answer the question. He said, sure, I'll answer the question. He said, what is the most amazing thing? The most amazing thing is that everybody's dying around us, but we still think that we're not going to die. That's the most amazing thing. So,
suspension of disbelief.
What's that?
We have suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, it's like you suspend your belief like in a movie, because nobody wants to think about it. But actually, it's actually very a lesson, because when you get old, like I am, I apologize because your friend is also my age. But the thing is, if it's a yellow light. Yellow light means it's going to turn red pretty soon. So you have to heed the warnings and become serious about Krishna consciousness before the light turns red. And, you know, practice Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, and taking lessons from the Guru, and reading these scriptures like we just did. She just did. Led us in that wonderful Bhagavad Gita verse. And then, if we're always thinking about Krishna, the Guru will lead us step by step to the highest level of prema, or God, love of God, which is the goal of life. So we just have to remember that. And then we won't have to take birth again, because that sucks. Taking birth, you know, I took birth. What is birth? Birth is actually, I read just something. I tell this to everybody on their birthday. This is not really you know, enlivening thing to say on your birthday. But here's the definition of birth. This is by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Uddhava Gita, in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, it says, O greatly charitable Uddhava, just as one may accept a dream or a fantasy as reality, the acceptance of a new body as the soul is called birth. So when we accept a body, that's called birth. In commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the acceptance of a new body according to one's karma is called birth. Our identification with our own body and our blind acceptance of bodily relationships as permanent constitutes a prolonged form of dreaming or fantasy in which one imagines himself to be separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The term birth, therefore, does not refer to the generation of a new entity, but to the blind acceptance of the spirit soul of a new material body. And that just goes on and on and on until we go back to Godhead, to where we go on. And then we won't have to take birth again. Like that song by George Harrison. You're probably, most of you are too young to know George Harrison, but he put out an album 50 years ago called All Things Must Pass. Actually, this is from living in the material world. But his song, Give Me Love, Give Me Love, Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth, Give Me Life, Give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth. And so we want to get out of the cycle of birth and death, because it's miserable. Birth is miserable. Dr. Thomas explains how birth is miserable. And death is miserable, old age is miserable. Those are the four evils: birth, death, old age, and disease. And if you want this book, this tells all about it, beyond birth and death, how to escape the cycle of birth and death. If you want one of these, you can just have it. I'm giving you away. I wrote a little paper on it too. It's called Dodging Disease and Death Indefinitely. It's like a little alliteration. But I wrote it down during the pandemic, and it's, it's pretty. It was pretty. It was the elephant in the room at that time, so it still is. It always is. Anyway, you can have this book if you want. I've got more copies outside if anybody wants it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I would like
Yeah.